Hey everyone, welcome. Sorry we're a little late. Technical issues as usual with one of the most targeted journalists in the world. That's my co-host. Um,
This week has been really bad, Naomi.
what's been
Really
happening?
bad.
Tell us about it before we launch in. What's been going on with you?
Yeah. Hi, Emerald Robinson here. I don't know. My phone is doing weird things. If you with my iMessage, so if you're an iPhone user, usually it's blue. It keeps switching back from blue to green. I got a phone call from a number in Northern Virginia in the greater DMV area
Mhm.
that I didn't know, but I assume it could be a government official, somebody who wants to talk to me about some of my reporting. So I answer it, and when I pick up, it says you are the only person in the teleconference, which is weird. Lots of weird computer stuff.
Wait, what happened then? Don't stop there. What happened? That's so creepy. What happened
It,
then?
it hung up.
That is very ominous and
I
disturbing.
had my mail tampered with, and it was
Oh
a it
no.
was a prescription, so we had to call and send it back and get something different.
Are you
Mm-hmm.
saying that, like, slow down? Each of these is very disturbing, and it's sad because during the Bush era, when I was reporting on George Bush Jr.'s violations of the Constitution, my mail got tampered with, and I would say so publicly, and people were like, "You're a crazy person. You need to be institutionalized." This really does happen. So, what happened? Was the bottle opened? Was the package opened? What were the details?
It had said FedEx had said that it had arrived, and it hadn't. It showed up 5 days later. When I opened the outer packaging, inside it was an oily residue. When I got into the actual prescription part, that wasn't sealed the way it was supposed to be,
Oh
with
no.
like shrink wrap, type plastic around it, the cases. And it didn't, the sticker that would usually go over the opening of each individual little box, it's like supplements, so it's like more of a vitamin type supplement, but you have to
Mhm.
get it from a compounding pharmacy. When the sticker had been lifted off and rolled back of each one. So I immediately called my doctor, and he said, absolutely do not take it. I sent him pictures. I said, absolutely do not use those. We'll have to see about getting something else. But I'm now, a little bit paranoid about.
Oh,
Yeah.
what are you? Wow, that's terrifying. Did the pharmacy give any explanation, or did they say it happened?
No, I mean, once it left their hands, I got the notice that it had left the pharmacy, and I think they thought that, but they honored it and just redid it. But yeah, they
Wow.
felt like they had just sent it out, and so this isn't the first time in the last few months that my mail has been tampered with. I got a Christmas card from another well-known target of the administrative state, particularly of the Biden family. And when his Christmas card arrived about 2 weeks late,
Mhm.
and it had been opened.
That's so
So,
creepy.
mhm, mhm. I told him that he wasn't the least bit surprised because he'd been having some odd things happen as well. And I think we just kind of, it seems, in this we hadn't planned to talk about this, but I'm not just the one saying it. Representative Anna Paulina Luna of Florida openly posted on Twitter that there is a war going on in the intelligence community. People thought that once Donald Trump was elected,
Mhm.
that all would be gravy and good. And I know we're going to get into that in other areas, particularly with the Epstein files. Right? He's elected. He
Yeah.
promised to release the Epstein files. He says he's telling his attorney general to do it. It should just happen.
Right.
But there is a battle going on right now, and some of the stories that some I can share, some I can't,
Mhm.
because certain sources I can have sworn don't want you to even go on background. You know how this works. There's certain levels of what they tell you. Some you can know just for your reference as you're seeing what you're seeing, but you can't share it.
Mhm.
But there's some interesting stuff going on behind the scenes as Donald Trump and his team are actually addressing the problem with their intelligence community, because they are actively taking steps to address it.
Well, I really want to get into that, but before we move off of you and what you're going through, what do you think? What's your instinct that is the reporting you did? I'm assuming it's your reporting that triggered whatever this is from whoever it is.
I think so. There's a couple big stories I'm working on, and then of course this week I tweeted about some of the possible. I have many sources telling me, and now it's not just me. I said it first. I said, I'm hearing this. I'm working to confirm it. My sources were usually I don't do that, but my sources were so solid, so high level, and multiple sources, independent of one another. Okay, these are not people working in the same division or the same task force or whatever. They're not even talking to each other. These people don't talk to each other. It's telling me similar stories, and then once I put that out there regarding paper shredding and destruction of evidence,
You're the one who broke that story of the FBI shredding documents? Was it the FBI?
I didn't break the FBI one. That was Garrett O'Boyle, and he was on my Lindell TV show yesterday, but he made another TV appearance the day before. I broke it about a high-level former Pentagon official and the CIA.
Whoa!
And then Garrett and I, who know each other well, had not spoken. I should have thought to call him immediately, but so many people were calling me. He goes on the Benny Johnson show, and he says what his sources, because he's still technically he's still an employee of the FBI. He's just been on unpaid leave for 29 months as of today, 29 months today for blowing the whistle. He still has, a lot of friends working in there, and they flagged it for him that there was destruction of evidence and destruction of documents going on actively by FBI agents. So he was corroborating what I was hearing in the other agencies.
Right. I see. So in other words, taking these two stories side by side, independent journalists with independent sources independently are confirming that there's shredding going on in two different intelligence agencies, allegedly.
Multiple, not just, it's this multiple agencies. And so, and now there's been more people come forward and talking about it. So,
really? At another agency?
No, confirming more about the FBI and what I had reported. I put it out there as a rumor because it was such high level sources, but I was working to get a hold of the Pentagon. I was working to get a hold of, some official channels to say, hey, what's your reaction to this? I hadn't had any follow up on that. But they do have a lot going on. But it was the sources are so strong that I just put it out there because I assumed that if people were talking like that, the multiple calls that I had gotten, then other people were getting calls as well. And I figured if I put it out there, we could get some mass confirmation. And that's essentially what happened.
So other people phoned you, reached out, people you knew, people you didn't know?
Or people went on social media and said, hey, did you see this? This is what I've heard. Wow. And it turned into, and then Anna Paulina Luna said that, and there was another comment a public comment by another official. I'm blanking on it right now, but former military servicemen, high level military, former ones who now kind of blow the whistle and comment saying they've heard that. So there's a lot of fear right now by the bad actors. In the intelligence community and in law enforcement, because they've done a lot of covering up, and there's more, right? I asked Garrett O'Boyle what did he know what kind of evidence specifically was being destroyed? And he said it would just be speculating, but he did say something that reminded me of something that some of the sitting members of Congress have alluded to, even Senator Ted Cruz said he figures there's a lot of blackmail information that's being destroyed right now that they've gathered on politicians and members of Congress that they've used to control them. And even Senator Ted Cruz, I can't remember, it was probably a couple of years ago in a committee, he basically said the FBI runs Congress. And the implication was that via blackmail. And then again, on the Benny Johnson show, Tim Burchett of Tennessee, he put it as plainly as anybody I've ever heard it. He explained how it works, how these, law enforcement gather blackmail on, he said, not just U.S. representatives, but even state and local officials.
What?
Have you not seen that? That was like from last year. It absolutely went gangbusters. And that's how I've always been told that DC runs. And Tim Burchett just put it all out there for everybody.
I mean, I guess I'd heard certainly about blackmail at the federal level, but I didn't know that it went down to the state and local level. And
Right.
it's very upsetting to hear that it's our own FBI doing that when there are so many actual bad actors in this country, cartels distributing fentanyl and human traffickers and Chinese sleeper cells, that this is what they'd be focused on. And arguably, devil's advocate, could it be? No, it couldn't. That these issues came out in the course of their actually doing their jobs investigating people, and that it wasn't intended as blackmail material.
I think at this point, because we've seen how they've covered up for the Biden crime family, how they've, and we're going to get into the Epstein stuff. There was one, and I can't recall her name right now, one witness victim of Jeffrey Epstein, and she said she felt like that the FBI was there interrogating her when they showed up, and
Wow.
that she, it wasn't, and it was more to kind of shut her up than to actually get to the bottom of what was going on.
Oh my God. So it was like they were interrogating her in a threatening way so that she
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't go forward with her story about Epstein.
Right.
Oh my heavens. Oh, so catastrophic. So this tampering with your mail and the disruptions that you're having with technology. And I just want to share, because it's kind of funny in a horrible way. When we first got on this very live stream, I saw something I've never seen before in now like a year and a half of using this platform. Your image was elongated and distorted in a way that I don't even understand the technology of it, which is quite terrifying. Maybe it's just a glitch,
Well, that
right?
could be a glitch, but it
That
is.
could be
I
a glitch.
did joke because so many glitches have been happening this week, and I was late starting my Lindell TV show yesterday for technical difficulties, and also it's very interesting. There are certain guests that I will have
Mhm.
from time to time, and certain guests that we always have a problem with their signal, or their internet will just conveniently shut down at the moment that they're supposed to join me on my show. And I can think of about 3 of them off the top of my head, and I can tell you they are Intel community targets.
Hi everyone, Naomi Wolf here. Ashish Kumar Jha, who was the former Biden administration COVID-19 response coordinator, recently gave a chilling speech at the University of Michigan School of Public Health. Jha warned of a new age of pandemics, fueled by bioweapons development and by natural threats. He called for massive investments in vaccines against pathogens that don't even exist yet, and urged a war against so-called, quote, misinformation. But the question we need to ask is, who's working on bioweapons, and how many labs are there globally? Yes, Trump won, but that doesn't mean that evil is not still lurking in the background, and being prepared, no matter what your politics, is always the best defense. The wellness company's Contagion Emergency Kit, developed by Dr. Peter McCullough and his medical board, includes 5 critical life-saving medications, such as ivermectin, Tamiflu, and a nebulizer. It includes hydroxychloroquine. Every household can now have access to these hard-to-get medications without any of the red tape. It's so simple. Fill out a digital intake form and your kit will arrive in 1 to 2 weeks. Don't wait until the powers that be put their plans into action. Stay ready for the unexpected. History has shown that only that way can you really stay safe. Head to dailyclouthealth.com and use code DailyClout to save $32 off plus free shipping. Kits are only available to U.S. residents. I really urge you to go ahead and protect your family now. dailyclouthealth.com and use promo code DailyClout. Thank you.
Wow. And what are the kinds of things that they're whistleblowing about or exposing? Is there a theme?
Well, one was the Ukraine corruption.
Oh.
Other was Biden family corruption, the same one with the email that they opened the Christmas card. And then one is to do with vaccines.
Really? Good Lord. I mean, I can't imagine. But technically, how does shredding help? I mean, aren't all those things digital and they can be mirrored? I mean, you can't really get rid of evidence inside the government.
Apparently you can, and I wish I had, somebody sent me a text message on that very question today, an FBI person, on how this works. And some of the evidence was cataloged on servers that could be removed. Oh, and you know who actually explained this really well, y'all? If you're watching and you're following along, you can go to my ex. Tony Saruga showed a wire, former Intel guy, showed a wire and how they can use that to store data in a more covert way, or, you know, how the servers work. So I don't remember exactly what he had, specifically how I explained it. I was going to go back and look at it later because there's so much going on. So that's one response to me that I had flagged. Right. To get into more and maybe give him a call. But also so this is what I heard. And again, this is hard to confirm. So please understand, in our audience, I'm not saying this is a verbatim truth, but I'm just saying this is what I've heard, is that, say, when we're talking agency, that there were some not in Langley servers, but like they had servers at safe houses. We all know that the CIA has safe houses, right? So that one in particular was found to have housed information that shouldn't necessarily be in an off-site server. No. At a safe house in a certain location. And according to what Garrett O'Boyle said on my show yesterday, the FBI had some other issues, very similar issues, and that servers were being put with specific information that wasn't copied into other, it's not like it's in a cloud or it's not onto other computers or drives, put in places and housed in places that it should not have been.
So it's not people literally shredding; it's people doing away with digital storage, and so it sounds as if it's a complete, emotional state of chaos in the intelligence agencies, because colleagues are observing colleagues, turning in colleagues. People are racing to get ahead of the investigations. People are racing to get away from the evidence. Is this accurate? Like, it's not everyone's of one mind. It sounds like things are very fractured.
Yes, I would agree. I think that we don't know how many people are in the agencies or in the law enforcement that are really federal law enforcement that are very pro-Constitution. I know for a while we felt like there were none. Right. During the Biden years. But there are obviously still some good people there. And this brings up a great point by Garrett O'Boyle, was that there are people who want to come forward.
Right, I bet.
And he's encouraging them to, because that's what Tulsi Gabbard, although Tulsi, I did see it's an appearance she made yesterday. And she said that, the rank and file are coming to her and letting her know some of the problems. So I was encouraged by that. It doesn't sound like there's quite the same thing yet at the FBI, but I don't know for sure. Maybe Cash, is getting some potential. They would be technically whistleblowers. The former whistleblowers are encouraged, saying, yeah, you should really tell leadership. But at the same time, these whistleblowers have yet to be made whole. Yeah. As I noted, Garrett O'Boyle has been suspended without pay for 29 months. He has a family. He had just had a newborn when he got suspended.
Without pay. Is that legal? I mean, don't they have to give someone cause to just stop paying them and kick them out of their job?
I mean, technically, but the cause is so flimsy, but they can use it.
What if they charged him with, or what if they said?
I can't remember what they said specifically about his case, because there's quite a few. I can't remember what justification they gave. I think just, sharing the information, even though it was a whistleblower. But they have they've been through hell. And I talk to these guys all the time. They become friends. And another one's going to be on my show today, Steve Friend. They have been through hell. And until that would scare anybody, right? They've seen how they've been treated, and they don't know yet if they've gone to these people they've watched be treated this way, if they're going to be reinstated, if they're going to be able to have back pay. Right. These guys can't get jobs. A lot of them, many of them. I have a friend who was an FBI whistleblower from 15 years ago. Still struggles for employment. The FBI will still get in the way and try to make sure this person doesn't have employment. And so until it's going to be hard for even this new regime, you know, who says they want to do the right thing and clean it out, to get people to come to them until the past whistleblowers are put in a better place.
Right. Good God. This is so scary. I mean, it's really starting to feel like the government, you know, I'm thinking of the title of Kash Patel's book, Government Gangsters. It almost feels like there are groups of criminals or groups of gangs, like a prison with different, you know, gangs or groups of criminals kind of watching each other's back and being territorial. Hey, everyone. Naomi Wolf here. How are you doing with your New Year's resolutions? January is here. My start was pretty easy. My resolution was to focus on my well-being, and we all know that the foundation of well-being is a good night's sleep. So if I could do just one thing to improve my sleep and overall well-being, it is taking the number one mineral for sleep, which also helps me personally on so many levels. Yes, I am talking about magnesium. Actually, I am talking about the Magnesium Breakthrough by Bioptimizers. It's 7 different forms of magnesium in this supplement, which are involved in over 600 different biochemical reactions in the body. Pretty much every function in your body is upgraded when you do take magnesium, from the quality of your sleep for your brain function, metabolism, to your stress levels. And even if your 2025 resolution is not to focus on your health, as mine is, how are you really going to be able to achieve all your goals without quality sleep and stress management support? It's hard to do that. So please do yourself a favor and make Magnesium Breakthrough part of your daily routine this year so you can get the vitality that you need to conquer your dreams. Go to bioptimizers.com/Daily Clout now and enter promo code Daily Clout to get 10% off of any order. And if you subscribe, not only will you get amazing discounts and free gifts, you will make sure that your monthly supply is guaranteed. Again, that's bioptimizers.com/Daily Clout, promo code Daily Clout. Take care. I mean, it's so disturbing for us as citizens outside the intelligence community to think that whistleblowers pay for the rest of their careers, and that other potential whistleblowers are watching them, because what people are always told when there's like an Edward Snowden situation is, oh, they should have blown the whistle through the proper channels. And so
And these people did. All of these people did.
And then terrible things happen to them. This is so terrifying. Well, it makes Tulsi Gabbard and probably Kash Patel seem very brave. You also are very brave. What gives you the courage to keep going with this? I mean, this is a scary situation.
I guess I haven't thought about it. No, my parents raised me this way. My dad was a coal miner. My husband always tells me to stop digging coal, as a phrase. And I have small children. I'm not always going to be here. I need the world to go back, or the country to be in a good place for them. Though I try to be very honest with even my 8-year-old. We have pretty deep conversations. He's already very intuitive about the state of things. Like, he was in a lockdown scenario at his school yesterday because of a shooter on a college campus nearby. And they do the whole thing where they try to protect them because he's like 8. So they do the whole thing when they protect him. He comes home, he said, Mom, what was really going on? It was not just some pretend thing. And so, you know, we have conversations about the vaccines and about, he wants to know why the lines are in the sky, Naomi, and why certain clouds look a certain way, and why some planes leave this. I mean, this is all on his own. Yeah. So I'm just kind of preparing him for the world that in country he might live in, but I want it to be a good country. I want to be a constitutional republic with the protections that should be afforded under said constitutional republic, with the rule of law and the opportunity to pursue life, liberty, and happiness.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. God, what do you project forward? I mean, what do you expect we'll see in the next few weeks with Tulsi Gabbard and Kash Patel now, running the shops? Are we going to see masses of people coming forward to get ahead of investigations and prosecutions? Are we going to see people just quitting and running? I mean, what do you think
I think all of the above. Probably less people coming forward and more the quitting and running. And I know that, there's reports that certain bad actors have already left the country or have been attempting to leave the country. I think that some people are saying that they're not moving fast enough on the Trump side. I think they've been moving at a pretty good pace. You got to understand the undertaking. It's huge.
Huge.
And it's a huge bureaucracy. It's a huge administrative state. And you also have to be careful how you do it, right? Because if you make one wrong move, it could hurt the whole process that you're trying to take. I feel good about it. I've been pleasantly surprised from what I've heard and been told and what I've seen so far. I kind of agree with everyone else that so far the disappointment is the failure to release the Epstein client list. And it's interesting to watch the sitting members of Congress, though I don't feel like it should go through Congress. I mean, just release it at this point. We've been waiting years for this and let the American people. But I think you have the foreign policy aspect of this at a very sensitive time for a certain country. And I got into my Substack today at emerald.tv. That's my last article if you want to go reference what I'm talking about.
Can I jump in there?
Yeah.
Before we go on to the Epstein papers or the Epstein list and revelations, I know everyone wants to know what you have to say about that. I just want to ask, when it comes to, for instance, everything at the FBI and maybe elsewhere in the intelligence community about the Biden crime family, as you put it, I'm not ever condoning people covering up criminality, but just practically, if you're a government employee of an intelligence agency and your boss, the commander in chief, is a criminal and is doing criminal things, and you as the intelligence community know that it's criminal things, or he asks you to keep it concealed or however it works in there, what are you supposed to do, right? Just quit? I mean, it's pretty hard to quit and then blow the whistle on the president of the United States. What should you do?
This predated Biden taking office. They were covering this up under the last Trump administration. Trump just didn't have a handle on the intelligence community. They were operating, subversive to the administration and all wanted, Biden in lieu of a better option. Just Obama himself, they would have loved. But they were protecting them during the Biden years. It's just that, Trump and his team really didn't understand how bent the intelligence community was.
I see.
So they had a boss that they could have went to prior, but I mean, the Andrew McCabe, James Comey, they were all in on it. And we're learning even more. I mean, and I think we'll learn even more if Tulsi Gabbard and Kash Patel declassify a lot of the information. But we know enough already that is damning enough.
Right. Yeah. No, I guess I just practically am wondering what are you supposed to do if the president is a criminal? Just practically, not if you're Comey, but if you're just some low-level person who has to be part of the cover-up, or else, I don't know, lose your job, get targeted. Part of why I'm asking is I'm thinking about all the soldiers I now know, all the veterans who are sent overseas, told to do horrible illegal things, or contractors, right, by, the senior brass, and then get either completely destroyed reputationally, professionally, if they come forward, or else, are prosecuted and thrown to the wolves when they were executing a horrible, flawed, evil set of instructions from the government.
I'm sure you've met some of those people, right? I know I have.
Yeah.
And so many of them come back broken, and it's not, they're physically fine. And I remember Donald Trump would allude to this a lot during off-the-record conversations, because that's what would really bother him very much about conflict overseas, was he would talk about going to Walter Reed, and, there's the obvious wounds, right? But then there's the ones that are not so obvious. And in many ways, that can be the most detrimental to a family.
Right.
And
Right.
and that's why he's always thought about, he's very anti-conflict, in part because of that. Look, they make they struggle to live the rest of their lives.
Right.
Many of them it breaks, it mentally breaks them and emotionally breaks them. I guess you just decide how you can live with that. I think that's a question a lot of the whistleblowers that I talk to ask themselves, like, why do more people not come forward like we did? And they understand that they felt, all of them are, I think, all of them that I know are Christian.
Right.
And they felt like, they have to.
They had
That
to.
their faith and their values required them to, even if it did cost them their job. I understand why you don't, but again, the problem is everybody in HQ, CIA HQ, everybody at FBI HQ that is not part of the new leadership absolutely just needs wiped out. They have to clean house, because the problem really did start at the top, but then with the kind of recruiting they've done over the last 10, 15 years, there is also a lot of problems in the rank and file being ideologically aligned with the same problems that were exhibited at the highest levels.
Mm-hmm.
So there's just so much work to do. It can look overwhelming if you stand back and you look at it, but I do think there's some progress being made, and me, never hopeful, am I?
No, never.
Hopeful.
No, you're hopeful.
So
okay,
folks.
Well, that's good to know. Let's move on to thanking our sponsors before we go on to our next segment. Everyone is on the edge of their seat. We've got over 5,000 people listening live. So Ashish Kumar Jha, former Biden administration COVID-19 response coordinator, recently gave a chilling speech at the University of Michigan School of Public Health. Jha warned of a new age of pandemics fueled by bioweapons development and natural threats. Of course he did. He called for massive investments in vaccines against pathogens that don't even exist yet and urged a war against so-called, quote, misinformation. But the question we need to ask is who's working on bioweapons and how many labs are there globally? Yes, Trump won, but evil is still lurking in the background. Being prepared is the best defense, whatever your politics. The wellness company's Contagion Emergency Kit, engineered by Dr. Peter McCullough, whom I adore, and his medical board, includes 5 critical life-saving medications such as ivermectin, Tamiflu, a nebulizer, and hydroxychloroquine. I just did an interview with someone who said his life was saved by hydroxychloroquine when he had really bad COVID. Every household can now have access to these hard-to-get medications minus the red tape. It's simple. You fill out a digital intake form, and your kit arrives in 1 to 2 weeks. We did it. We love it. Don't wait until the deep state puts their plans to action. Stay ready for the unexpected. So go over to Daily Clout Health and use promo code DailyClout to save $32 off plus free shipping, and kits are only available to U.S. residents. Also, by optimizers. How are we doing with our New Year's resolutions? It's a little while ago. Mine was to focus on my well-being, which includes sleeping better. And to do that, I am taking the #1 mineral for that, which helps me also with my moods and crankiness. It's difficult to describe what.
Are you cranky? I don't believe
often,
that.
sometimes actually cranky. I know I just seem like Miss Sunshine. Both of us are like smiling while we describe the apocalypse looming, but I can get cranky for sure. And I am talking about magnesium. In fact, Magnesium Breakthrough by Optimizers. This is 7 different forms of magnesium in the supplement, which is involved in over 600 different biochemical reactions in the body. Every function almost in your body gets upgraded when you do take magnesium, from the quality of your sleep to your brain function to your, thank you, darling, to your metabolism and stress levels. So really, you've got to sleep in times like this. You've got to dream deeply. You've got to process your emotions and your stress. So do yourself a favor, please, and make Magnesium Breakthrough part of your daily routine this year so you can get all the energy and vitality you need to conquer your challenges and pursue your dreams. Go to buyoptimizers.com/dailyclout now. Enter promo code DailyClout to get 10% off every order. And if you subscribe, you'll get amazing discounts, free gifts, and your monthly supply will be guaranteed. Again, that's bioptimizers.com/Daily Cloud, promo code Daily Cloud. Lastly, let us not forget the collagen challenge, my cohort in the collagen challenge.
I've been doing it.
You've been doing it. You look absolutely radiant. You're
It's so good for my
aging
hair.
backwards. Are you ready to move easily independently? Do you want to look in the mirror and see this line always makes me smile, a plump, hydrated glow instead of more fine lines and wrinkles? Discover Native Path Collagen, made with only type 1 and 3 collagen fibers, the two most important kinds that make up 90% of the collagen in your body. It's found in your cartilage, bones, skin, hair, nail, and guts. And type 1 and 3 provide maximum benefits without unnecessary fillers. Third-party tested for heavy metals, so you know it's pure and safe. Totally flavorless. I know we've talked about this. Native Path Collagen can be added to anything. Coffee, smoothies, oatmeal, you name it. And you and I have talked about like the trifecta, adding our Native Path collagen powder to our Native hydration product, which is quite delicious. Its peptide formula makes it more bioavailable, meaning it's absorbed more easily and mixes perfectly. And the best part is Native Path offers amazing bundle deals. You can get 3 or 6 packs at a fraction of the price of other brands. With over 4 million jars sold, 1 million happy customers, 8,000 5-star reviews, and a 365-day no-risk guarantee, Native Path is a trusted choice. Plus, they offer an 800 number for any questions about usage, recipes, ingredients. You'll talk to a real person, share success stories on their Facebook community. Go to getnativepath.com/Daily Cloud, and that is getnativepath.com/Daily Cloud. And before we go to the very serious subject of the Epstein files, how are you finding your collagen challenge? How are you finding your skin, nails, and hair since taking collagen every day since January 1st?
I love it. The only problem I'm having is that I have to get my roots done more often. That's my hair, but it's fine. My hair, I particularly noticed a huge difference with my hair. It's growing so fast with just the texture of it. I have actually typically really dry hair.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels, I mean, you can't feel my hair, but it feels completely different. Even my stylist noticed a difference, and she asked what I was doing, and I told her about the collagen, so she's getting it. And then this is really interesting. This is not on beauty, which I love all the beauty aspects of it, but I had a friend tell me just earlier today, that they began using, the Native Path collagen, and that they have an autoimmune disease that they've noticed has been getting better.
Wow.
And I thought, oh, that's interesting. I wouldn't, I don't know, whatever. And I was preparing for a segment on my show tonight, and I pulled up I was looking for some news related to collagen. Mm-hmm. And literally just a month ago in Nature magazine, there was a study talking about how the collagen helped this particular autoimmune disease, which was ulcerative colitis. Because of its anti-inflammatory properties. So many benefits. Of course, I'm loving the beauty aspects of it, because what woman doesn't?
Exactly.
But I also love that there's a lot of health benefits of it too. And I've been looking into the difference between, using collagen, and how we are always really concerned about calcium for our bones. But as a woman, as I get older, I'm trying to be more cognizant of doing weight training for bone health in the future, and bone density. But apparently also the collagen helps with that. So.
Yeah.
Latest on collagen.
How lucky. Well, I'll tell you what I have found. I was in Lithuania seeing a loved one who is in Vilnius. And I went from there to Oxford to do a debate on free speech, which we won. Hooray. My co-debater was Dave Rubin, which was awesome, and some students. But I mention this because I ran out of collagen on the journey. And so I didn't take it for a few days. And I literally, and you can see this on the videos, like it's kind of embarrassing, but also fascinating to be personalities on video, because you can literally see like deterioration and regeneration. So I did all the things you do when you travel, partying, eating delicious things. And honestly, my hair was dry and my skin was dry, and I just looked, and I've been through this before, right? When I took a train across the country and ran out of college, and um, I just feel when I take it, and I started taking it again, like literally 2-3 days ago, things just regenerate. Things look better. They feel better. And I know what you mean. I know we've done this before, but I know what you mean about your hair feeling completely different, right? Like we all struggle with like dry hair, coarse hair, split ends, etc. And then you take this stuff and all you want to do is go, oh, my hair is so fabulous. So, that is a good update. Is there anything else you want to add before we get into back to the serious stuff?
I don't think so. And if you're a man, we're not just talking about beauty for women. I mean, my husband loves the stuff too.
Does he?
He loves he pairs it with the hydrate.
Really? And what's he noticing? Is his skin all dewy fresh?
My husband's Peter Pan anyway.
He
doesn't really age, so it's it's hard to tell that on him. But I think he's not complaining about aches and pains as much.
I really noticed
which is interesting. Yeah, he's a tall guy. He's been athletic. He's now in his 50s, and he was never aging before. Mm-hmm. And so lately, over the last year, he had some aches and pains, but he seems to be doing better with that. And I have to wonder if it is in part due to the collagen.
Well, Chad Walding, I know we should stop talking about this in a minute, but Chad Walding, the CEO of Native Path, explained that you can actually kind of develop new grooves for your joints to move in if you're having joint pain, which I thought you were stuck with it. I didn't know that you could actually kind of replenish, but it makes sense. Like,
I need that. I've had 4 knee surgeries.
Oh, that's terrible. Yeah. No, I mean, I promise I'll stop, but I'm 12 years older than my husband, and it's really interesting because he's just like your husband, right? They're just entering their 50s. And so like aging is new to them. And I'm like, just wait. So it really adds some urgency to, doing all the preventive stuff now. So that is a great update. Well, let's go now back to what everyone is on their edge of their seat wanting to know about, the Epstein files. What is happening, Emerald? Why are we waiting? What's happening?
That's what everybody is asking, especially in DC. And that's what the committee that's supposed to be, working on the release of all this is asking, which like I said, I don't think there should be a committee. Well, they can have their committee. Okay. Just release it all. And then you can have all the hearings you want on it. But let's let the public see it because we have waited way too long for this. Now, I think, the delay might have something to do with not only Jeffrey Epstein's clients, of whom we're all wondering, right, who's on that client list, but I think it has something to do with maybe who was also Epstein's boss or bosses. What a lot of people might not have noticed is that Ehud Barak, who's a former spy chief for Israel, admitted that he had been going to Epstein's apartment, has made some, I think 30 some visits to Epstein's apartment in New York. But he said, oh, no, it was never for sex with anyone, that he wasn't having sex with underage girls. Then why was the top intelligence person for Israel spending so much time with this pedophile sex trafficker? And this is a very pivotal time for Israel right now as they're trying to negotiate this, ceasefire agreement as it relates to the Gaza Strip. The first thing, though, that Pam Bondi does, even though she's supposed to be releasing this Epstein client list, is she sets up a task force to investigate October 7th. Now, you could say that's great, but she was supposed to release the Epstein client list. Donald Trump has told her that. I would say that's even part of the mandate because people have been asking for this for so long.
Well, and as you noted, he campaigned on it. He said he would, right?
He said he would. Kash Patel, the FBI director, said he would. And it seems like it's being held up by his attorney general, Pam Bondi.
Well, but she can't act contrary to the president's direction, presumably, right?
I guess not. She can tell him there's reasons to slow it down and talk him out of it, I guess. I don't know. Here's the thing. We've seen so many people in the first administration act contrary to Trump's direction. That I'm not sure that you can say that it's a given that she wouldn't. And And remember the first administration, there was a labor secretary named Alex Acosta. And I remember being on the South Lawn the day that he was let go from the administration. And Trump's like, really great guy. He's got other things to go do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a reporter had asked earlier in the day, as this announcement was being made, they asked Labor Secretary Alex Acosta whether Jeffrey Epstein was an intelligence asset at the July 10th press conference that year that he was let go.
Mm-hmm.
That was asked because the day before, you probably know Vicki Ward. You probably actually know her personally. I bet you all ran into each other in New York. Reporter Vicki Ward had published a very hot piece where she outlined a conversation with a former senior White House official that involved Alexander Acosta, and saying that Epstein's name had been raised by the Trump transition team when Alexander Acosta, who was a former U.S. attorney in Miami, interviewed for the job, because they saw it as a red flag for him.
Mm-hmm.
Acosta said, when he was asked about it, that he was told Epstein belonged to intelligence and to essentially leave him alone.
Whoa. Well, I mean, that's exactly what Acosta did, and many of the victims said about it. They are very bitter, that he had the chance to investigate, stop everything in Miami, didn't, and then more girls got hurt. They can't, understandably, they blame him more than almost anyone for facilitating that situation. Well, that would be truly distressing, but why would Trump, if he knew that, make the promise that he would release the Epstein files?
I think he genuinely intends to do it. I don't have an explanation for it being held up, other than I think it implicates a certain country, because all the dots connect there.
Israel. I'm not going to storm out of the room if you say Israel, just because I'm Jewish.
I mean, look, everybody dances around it, but it really is Epstein's ties to Israel. I think as I said, is most notable with his obvious relationship with Ehud Barak, but there's others. There's Lex Wexner, right, who is his funder, and
but let's not conflate Jews and Israel, right? Wexner is Jewish, but he's not Israeli.
Zionist, though. Very pro-Israeli state, and the question is this to ensure, right? Was Epstein running a sex trafficking scheme to ensure the security of Israel, and that there wouldn't be perhaps a two-state solution?
So I think if there are direct ties to Israel, and I know that people have said that Ghislaine Maxwell's dad, Rupert Maxwell? No, that's not right. That Maxwell. Darling, can you please check the first name of the Maxwell? The one who died under mysterious circumstances on his boat.
Why is his name leaving me? He had the media empire in the UK.
Yes, Robert Maxwell. That he had direct ties to Israel. I think, respectfully, it's very easy to take American Jews, who are maybe even pervert pedophiles, right? Because you can find them, just like you can find American Christians who are pervert pedophiles and American Muslims who are pervert pedophiles, and say, well,
Catholic priest.
Sure. And say, well, because they support Zionism, therefore they're acting on behalf of Israel. I would say that's too much of a stretch. And I think we do have to be careful, Emerald, respectfully, because you could take, of all the people that are probably on that list, and I'm not saying it's not Israel. It sounds like it seems clear that some power was behind Epstein, the whole operation. No individual had that kind of funding. We've talked about this. My then agent was funded by Jeffrey Epstein, and I didn't have any idea, right? We've talked about my near misses with that, and the fact that Epstein was showing up at all of these Manhattan parties and galas that I was invited to, that I went to. He was just such a part of New York society, but no individual could have made that kind of money, had that kind of reach, been that protected. There must be some intelligence agency power behind him, whether it's Israel or some other country or us or some combination. But
I think combination.
Just to finish my point, because I think it's important, you could look at all the people who we know went through those doors and lift out all the Christians and, find some commonality among them ideologically and say, see, this is what's driving it. So we just need, just bear that in mind.
I agree that I think it's a combination. And I would even say, I think Ghislaine Maxwell has tried to tell us that herself, because remember when she went MIA when it was obvious that she was going to be arrested?
Yeah.
And there was this whole global manhunt for her. And then she shows up in 2019 in this picture sitting at a burger joint in Los Angeles that I know very well. She was reading a book. I mean, the book was like prominently displayed in the picture of her kind of proof of life picture, right?
Totally.
The Book of Honor, The Secret Lives and Deaths of CIA Operatives.
Oh,
a lot of people didn't even notice that, but it was like she was almost telling you, that the CIA is also involved.
But the CIA isn't supposed to operate in the United States.
Not supposed to.
And would they be so evil as to feed young minor girls into this machine?
Well, maybe they aren't operating as much as they're ignoring for their own purposes.
Right. But may I just say, like, as a witness, everyone ignored, right? Like when Epstein was circulating in New York high society, and I remember being at events and there he was, but this was after he'd been convicted. We've talked about this a little bit, but this was after his initial conviction. So everyone knew he was a pedophile, right? But he had done his time. So, Americans love second chances, and he was being welcomed right back into society. I was horrified, but everyone was colluding, right? No, and these are like the movers and shakers of New York society. No one that I observed, and it's not like people were shunning him, they were flocking around him. No one that I observed in those social settings said or indicated, oh, I'm not going to shake that man's hand. He raped little girls.
Yeah. Well, remember Cindy McCain admitted in a public forum, I mean, she was given some kind of, she was on a panel, a public panel at an event, and she said, oh, well, everybody knew. Like, it was open. Everybody knew, the late John McCain's wife, Cindy. Well,
they knew after his first conviction, which was a slap on the wrist, and he got to go home during the day and have lunch. I mean, after that, obviously they knew he had been convicted, but I don't think they knew that he was continuing to offend, the way that he was.
But what did it matter? He'd been convicted. He had done it at some point.
I'm with you. I'm with you. It's just extraordinary how there's nothing too horrible for someone to have done if they have enough money and influence, And well, I shouldn't probably keep going on about this, but even scientists, right? His whole orbit was some of the most distinguished scientists and DNA specialists and primatologists, Dawkins. And I mean, I'm not naming him as a pedophile. I'm just saying, like, it was that whole Harvard crew of scientists who care about evolution, right? And my agent John Brockman my then agent convened all of these people around him, but they were avidly pursuing him. I mean, granted, he was funding their research, he was funding Harvard, he was funding MIT, but yeah, I'm with you. Like, none of those institutions said what you've done is too gross. We're not going to take your money. We're not going to fawn on you. We're not going to invite you to. Yeah, it's pretty heartbreaking. I mean, what does it take, right?
Well, we would have thought we would be seeing it now, but look, I think some people, maybe even, Pam Bondi, besides, perhaps it's problematic on the foreign policy front. I'm not sure nobody really wants to hear, right, that the U.S. intelligence community was protecting a man running a global pedo ring.
But just to be clear, we don't know that that's true.
That he was running a pedophile ring?
No, but we don't know that the U.S. intelligence community had anything to do with it.
Oh yeah, there was no way they didn't know, because, like you said, Alex Acosta was told hands off all the way back when he was the U.S. attorney in Miami.
I mean, we have that from him.
Well, in part of when he was vetted by the Trump transition, when he was asked about it. So,
but he's the only source for that.
Well, but he was admitting it while he was in the middle of vetting for whether or not he was going to get a job in the Trump transition, which you usually try to be pretty honest with. And I mean, there's lots of other indicators that I mean, there's been other reports and scenarios that he was hands off because of intelligence ties. And generally, if you hear people in the politics world, they always understood he kind of was.
What did you say? I didn't catch that.
Many people in the political sphere will tell you they assumed he was, after his conviction, particularly, that he was an intelligence asset.
Well, someone was protecting him for sure. I could be being extra cautious about this because I don't want my mail to be tampered with.
You don't want to what?
I don't want my mail to be tampered with now.
Well, I was going to ask you, do you not have this problem yet?
I have other problems. I mean, my husband gets detained every time we cross the border.
Do you really?
Yeah, I have other problems, but
I just read somebody else sharing an account of that as well, getting detained even now. Yeah.
I get things like the slip of paper in my luggage saying we've gone through your luggage, when I go through.
Oh yeah, that's just a given these days.
Yeah, that's pretty normal. I guess what's really annoying to me is how it changes from administration to administration. So like during Bush 2, I got 4 S's, documenting me as a security threat when I went through any security in an airline. And then as soon as it was Obama, that went away. And, at the end of the Biden administration, the IRS was harassing me. And as soon as Trump was elected, that went away. It's like, it's so transparent. But we only have a few minutes left. I
have a couple.
So I'm just going to restate what I think you said, which is the most persuasive thing I've heard of the things you've said. It is very possible that there's some link to Israel, right? With Ehud Barak showing up that often. That's just weird. And
he was literally the only person who didn't want to visit Epstein for sex, apparently, according to him, of course. That was his words. So again, he's the single source on that.
Right. It's so gross, man. I mean, just thinking that there are that many pedophiles in the world is so gross. But moving along, it does make sense to me, theoretically, that this being such a delicate time in brokering peace between Israel and Palestine, whatever's going to happen to Gaza, may there be peace in that region forever. I could see that even President Trump might think, oh, well, this is too hot. He's getting calls nonstop from the Knesset or from the Mossad. Let's just wait it out till the deal is done. Let's just, release it when things are less fraught in the negotiations for peace in the Middle East. Let's get more hostages back. Oh, wow. Okay. Lots of spy stuff going on with Ehud Barak and pedophiles.
And can I add one more thing?
Please.
Guess who had introduced, according to Ehud Barak, of course, this is him saying this, who had introduced Barak to Epstein in the first place? It was the former Israeli president, Shimon Peres in 2003.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So 2 extremely high-level Israeli officials hanging out with Epstein.
Okay, that's bad. I'm just going to say, and I'm not trying to defend anyone. It's just, I'm just, mentally thinking back to that time in New York and the people around Epstein. This was a very rich guy who was giving lots and lots of money to all kinds of philanthropies, all kinds of institutions. Is it possible that these people met with him for non-pedophilia, non-spy related? Okay, never mind. You're giving me that look. You're giving me the Emerald look. I can't survive it.
One of the top, is known for their intelligence gathering, right? They're the top tier platinum level intelligence gatherers. So you tell me.
All right. No, it totally seems like a honey trap of the largest scale.
And some of the sickest. Yeah.
Yeah. So that said, I think we could anticipate that there will be more release of the Jeffrey Epstein file after maybe whatever geopolitical goals Trump is pursuing in the Middle East are secured, right?
I agree. I think that, because think about it, how are the American people going to feel if we, secure a lot of concessions for the Israeli side, we give them a lot of what they want, then you find out they've been running this honey trap operation against American girls, many of whom, lives were totally destroyed. I'm not sure you'd have a lot of public support for, your plan, perhaps. Also, I do also think that there's probably going to be some surprising names of Americans on that list that are going to really upset American perception of some of our elites, right?
Yeah.
It's already in the tank, but overall as a group, right? But there might be some surprising people on there. I've heard murmurs about some names that I would have not thought. So
right.
that I won't share because I haven't confirmed them. I'm definitely not going to link somebody to the Epstein client list and they'll have confirmation on it. So,
on this show.
But there are a couple of names that they say possibility that, would be, let me tell you, it causes a stir if true.
Well, that's really interesting. I don't doubt it. I guess, I don't know what to say, like leaving the Israel question aside, because we just don't know, right? It's definitely dodgy as heck, but until it's confirmed, we just don't know. I know that there will be shocking revelations because I know that even the research I did when I had to leave my agent in 2017, this guy Epstein was one phone call away, in the same place, having the dinners, inviting people, meeting people with the top intellectuals of our country, as well as very senior people in publishing and, science, medicine. Oh God, do you have to do that, sweetheart? Oh my God, now I'm going to get sued. Brian is
on that note, maybe we should stop while we're ahead. I do have to jump on to my other show. I have guests waiting on the Lindell TV, but I'm glad we started this back.
Yes, and where do people find you? Oh, everyone's been asking, when are we going to be back on Emerald?
It's crazy. You were traveling. It's just been I thought things we could breathe a little bit after the election. No, it's only busier. I should have known that.
Okay, so tell us where they find you and then we can let you go.
Emerald.tv. You can also find me on X at Emerald Robinson, and you can watch my news show every evening on LindellTV.com at 8 p.m. Eastern.
It is the best, and you can find us on dailyclout.io. Got to support us and become a subscriber. If you want independent, unfettered, uncensored, unowned commentary and news, you come to Daily Clout and our network, come to Emerald and Naomi, and find me also on Substack. My Substack is Outspoken. And remember to keep supporting us because otherwise you're stuck with legacy media. Take care, everyone. And bye-bye.
Don't want that.
No, you don't want that.
See you all.
Hey everyone, it's Naomi Wolf. Have you seen the news from economists forecasting a depression, not a recession, a depression by the year 2030? We are in a perfect storm as Social Security and Medicare hit a breaking point with the largest generation reaching retirement. A smaller workforce means a smaller tax base, and pair that with our growing national debt and rising cost of living, we have a huge problem. So what are you doing now to protect your family for the future? Gold is a safe haven in hard economic times, and Birch Gold makes it easy to diversify a portion of your savings into physical gold. Birch Gold will help you transition an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold, and it doesn't cost you a penny out of pocket. So protect your future today. Text Daily Clout to 989898. Get your free info kit on gold and a copy of The Ultimate Guide for Gold in the Trump Era with a foreword by Donald Trump Jr. There's no obligation, only information. Birch Gold has earned the trust of countless Americans looking to safeguard their savings. You can count on them too. Text Daily Clout to the number 989898 today. All right.